and welcome to another episode of Talkoffame podcast. We are super excited for today's episode, especially, me, I'm super excited for this one. Because I'm joined by Dr. Michelle S. Thomas. I first connected with Michelle a couple of months ago for an event from our organization, and her work is absolutely amazing. A little bit about her: she's a founder and CEO of the Exceptional Woman Enterprise. Enterprise that is created to remove the barriers of sustainable growth that often interrupt the potential to success for many women entrepreneurs, especially women of color. The Exceptional Women Enterprise consists of result-driven entitles focusing on providing mastery level tools of business principles for a clearing understanding of each complex level of their entrepreneurial journey. She's also a global speaker, best-selling author, certified life and business coach, and relationship expert. I know that's super long intro, Michelle, but thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I'm super excited to connect with you again. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely, absolutely. Listen, the last time that you and I chat, we had lots of fun. We gave a lot of information. So I thank you for inviting me back. This is kind of my thing. What I love doing is having these kind of conversations.
Right back at you. And how does the Exceptional Women Enterprise kind of remove barriers to sustainable growth? Because you guys host different types of workshops and everything. So how does it kind of remove barriers to sustainable growth?
So the Exceptional Woman Enterprise is built up of multiple divisions. We have our event division, which is called the Exceptional Woman Tour. With the Exceptional Woman Tour, we have a virtual conference that reaches my global audience around the world. And that happens every March, where we speak to women, young ladies. But our March conference always focuses in on the inner woman. What I found as a speaker and during my travels around the world, there were some conferences that their expertise was to make us feel invincible for like 1, 2, 3, or 4 days. The problem is after the conference, they just kind of dropped the audience off. And I didn't want that. I wanted a ecosystem that could help my audience remain energized, excited, educated, and inspired all year round. So we created this system of these different divisions to keep supporting the people who are connected with us. So every March, we focus in on the inner woman. Every August is our business conference, and we travel from state to state every year. And we focus in on the financial aspects, the external effects of women, the barriers, things. We connect our audience with global data that's happening around the world. And we also provide tools and resources that they can immediately implement into their business. So that's the event division. We have an educational division, that the Exceptional Women's Academy. And what that does is takes all of the information from the knowledge in the 30 plus years that I have built up, and we built a track system. So it is specific for the level of growth and development that an entrepreneur is in. And we specifically designed those tracks so that it can be not only absorbed, but understood and implemented. You ever been into a training class or something and they're talking about things that you haven't reached, or things that you are past, and like you sat there for like 10 or 15 minutes and going, none of this really pertains to me. So we've removed that confusion out of it.
I can say, yeah.
More than I can say. That confusion out of it. Well, we have specifically created tracks for each stage. That's the aspiring and development stage, to the early stages, the scaling, the growth, the expansion phase. And we make sure that every tool in that toolkit is something that is actually usable for the women. Combining all this information and resource, a lot of times what holds back women entrepreneurs, especially women of color, is not funding, it's not knowledge, it's access. So the last level that we bring into our women and our members is access. Clear understanding about what real capital looks like, what those stages and steps looks like to apply for funding. How do you maximize your sales? How do you bring in all of the partnerships that you want to do? We help facilitate that. We help put the smaller businesses with the bigger corporations. We help answer those questions, let you know what grants are out there that are legitimate, and just basically trying to be the one hub for women entrepreneurs, young women entrepreneurs to go to, that you don't have to piece things together.
Ooh, that sounds amazing. I know, like when you said like before that in August you travel like state to state and everything and do a whole bunch of things. Like what states do you guys usually travel to?
So this past August, our business conference was in Charlotte, North Carolina, which is my hometown. And so it was a phenomenal event. We touched on so many entrepreneurs. But what was so inspiring for me is the youth that were there. We had young ladies that were between the age of 17 and 21 that were just getting started. And to have them to come back and let me know that the information that they received from the stages was something that they could not only understand, but actually implement into their life was powerful for me. So
Mm-hmm.
coming in 2024, our business conference will be in Dallas, Texas. We're going to be at the Gaylord Texan Resort. And once again, we build a stage and an event so that every level of entrepreneur that's in the building walks away with something that he or she can utilize immediately, not something that they have to pay for, not something they have to wait on, but something that by the time they leave the conference room and get to the elevator, there's some things that they can do to change their business success.
Ooh, definitely. Like especially like going traveling for this event and doing all these things, like especially with the conferences you guys do every single year, whether it's in like you said, this like next year Dallas, Texas, this year Charlotte, North Carolina, like wait, these are just wonderful cities. Like some I may have not been, but I'm hoping. But it's like these events, like there's not a lot of like conferences specifically that are just kind of focused on like okay, how can you grow this business? Or how can I be an interpreter? Or how can I make a business? Like, it's not really specifically just that small things about and basically everything that involves it. And to really just focus on the attendance, really just kind of growing, whether there's 17-year-olds like me or just like adults, like who knows? Like it's
Absolutely.
always, an impact that people should really know how to grow as an interpreter or how to really just get a start, especially.
And for my team and I, when I created the Exceptional Woman Tour, it was very important for me, especially coming from being a single mom. I didn't have any money. I was poor with extra ERs. You know what I'm saying? I was a single mom. I had 3 boys. I was barely trying to keep the lights on, but that didn't mean that I wasn't an intelligent person. It didn't mean that I didn't have drive and I didn't have goals. I just couldn't travel. So it was important for me taking my own life experiences that my team and I take the brunt of the cost. We come to you. And so for everyone who's out there who's listening to this podcast, connect with us. If you know that this is something that you want to bring to your city, let us know. We'll build it, we'll bring it, we'll bring all the resources. And there are some of the locations that we're in, like in Charlotte, we established a local chapter there because it was so much of a demand for the community and the entrepreneurs. So we left a chapter there that you can continue to pull the resources and information that we are constantly trying to gather. So our goal is to kind of be that researcher, that filter of legitimate, relevant practices. And that's what's really key for me because there's so much information out there, Kylie. And there's so many predatory like practices where people want you to pay them for master classes and pay me for this and pay me for that and pay me for that. And you don't know whether it's going to actually work or not. So there are women out there that are spending tens of thousands of dollars on practices and resources and principles that have no deliverables to it.
Yeah,
The one thing.
like I thought like once you said that, I'm like, even including if you maybe do good podcasts or you're doing like some sort of big radio show or something, it can cost, a couple $1,000s from my experience, a couple $1,000s to book a guest for like 30 minutes, 40 minutes, or even 10 minutes. It can cost a couple
Absolutely.
$1,000s. This before you even book them. Like you
Absolutely.
might pay a couple $1,000s and you might not book them, And that's kind of the reality of being in this role, is that you can book people for how much money they usually cost for a speaking fee. And it might not be worth it. It might not be an interview.
Absolutely.
They might cancel, and you just wasted how much money on this thing that you never even did. That's like this the reality.
And what happens, so let's stay right there for a second. So you have this drive and you have this goal that you want to be this entrepreneur, you have this passion in you. But then for your first year or two, people have nickel and dimed you so much that you've now run out of resources. You have no more money. And now that passion, that fire, that dream within you, you've lost it because you feel like that I'm never going to get anywhere because I don't have the money to do it. Well, we're exceptional women. And here at the Exceptional Woman Enterprise, our goal is to make sure that we don't extinguish that fire, because there's the next president out there. There's the next greatest inventor that's out there, that all they need is just a landing place, a vetted place that they can feel safe, which across all of my entities, one of my core values is a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
That you can come in vulnerable and say, hey, listen, I have no idea what I'm doing. Help me. And know that you're in the hands of people that actually care.
Mm-hmm.
Not someone that's just out there trying to fill their bank account. I mean, we're in business, so yeah, things are going to have a cost to it.
Mm-hmm.
My event has cost to it. However, we built our things off of value.
Mm-hmm.
And not everything and every resource that we give to you comes with a fee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with I like what you said, because when nothing is free in this world, everything comes at a cost. And whenever, let's for example, let's just say, oh, I want so and so to come on my podcast, or I want someone to be speaker for my event, for my organization, and I can write down a couple hundred people that I want to do an interview with, or I want to have a speaker at my event. But when you do that, you send out an email saying, hey, I want so and so to be on my podcast, here's the information and everything you need. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be happy to answer your questions. And they say, and when you get the response saying, oh, they have to pay that much money to get so and so, or they're not available, it could lose so much confidence. Especially me recently, I've been trying to get people on that I want, trying to get kind of what I want to talk about and what people align with my mission, or who I've been dying to interview or been on a podcast. And it's just been very angry because whether the person's not available, they don't align with my mission, or they just pay a fee. And sometimes I'm like, I'm just 17 years old. How am I supposed to have that much money as a 17-year-old girl working two jobs besides doing all this work? It's sometimes I think it's very, crazy. To think for a 17-year-old girl to pay, a fee that much just for one person. This is just sometimes I'm like, I wish I had that money.
Right.
I'll just give them in a heartbeat. I would do anything. But sometimes it's
thing. And listen, and I'm an old girl, so I've been around business for a long time. And it hasn't always been like this. But the reason that this happens is because of this hunger for cash. But in business, cash is not the only resource that grows your business.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people need to understand that partnerships, like me taking time out of my day to have a 30-minute conversation with you, it not only it exposes my business to a different audience that may not know that we're even out there, but it also helps me as a human, as a person. I'm a mom, I'm a grandmother, I'm a mentor, I'm a coach. So when my audience sees that I am out there and I walk my talk, I don't do this because I get a check. I don't do this because someone is writing a script for me to just get out there and do a photo op or whatever. This is my assignment. This is my passion. And I always want that to convey when I have these conversations. I'm an open book because, again, back when I was a single mom and I didn't have any money, there were people that believed in me, that poured into me, that didn't charge me a dime to get me to where I am. And I owe that to not only them, but I owe it to the next few generations of information, man. That's what this is about, is information and human connection. Because there's a young lady that's been listening to your podcast right now, and she's been following you for a long time. And it may be this episode that she hears that convinces her that she is important, that she is valuable, because the people that are around her aren't pouring into her like you are. So that's why this for me is important. And I always encourage reality stars and big name speakers and coaches and authors, like, take a step back from that portion of your life for a minute and think about that one person that needs to hear some motivation, some inspiration to be able to make it to the next day. That's my driving force.
I just seriously love what you said, because when we do these like press things or just PR involvement, like the last 2 years, like I've been, what's to say, like working my butt off. Like working my butt off every single day to grow my business. And I'm sure it's for the same you as well, like growing your business, being a parent, being a grandmother, family time, personal life, work at the same time. It can be very difficult. It can be very difficult to be able to balance all of these things that are very important to you in your life. But then with me personally, I'm just like, I'm also a person that loves family time, but also work time, where I'm always want to work. So even if it's like when someone texts me and be like, hey, I want to have a podcast, I'm like, yeah, please. Like, I love to, because like when someone, like, these, who knows, like not a lot of people get the opportunity to be on someone's podcast or do an interview with this person. So it's always kind of, a livid moment, because it's like not a lot of people have this opportunity to be part of this magazine or this podcast or whatever it is, because people might be working like hundreds of hours each week and not get what they are. Even
saying, and listen, girl, listen, I'm gonna put it out there right now. Like, everybody better jump on your podcast, because in the next 4 or 5 years, you are going to be the bomb. You hear what I'm saying? You are going to be out there. You are going to be taking over the podcast world. So I love what you're doing, and even during those discouraging times and down times or whatever, you're going to find people like me that will always be your lifetime supporters. So keep doing what you're doing, because your voice is needed. This is needed. It's necessary, especially for your generation, because social media has so many people's heads spinning, that to have someone that has a unified voice of hope and growth is necessary. It's necessary. So don't get discouraged.
Same to you as well. Like, even if like have a 17-year-old, like you said, social media can be such a hateful, thing that people can hate on you for being like a 17-year-old doing a podcast, or that's not normal for people to do. Like, that's not what things people really see as, 17-year-olds do in general. Like, it's like that's a kind of the world in reality of social media, is that people can hate on you for what you're doing for a living at such a young age, or no matter what age you are, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, how do you think removing the barriers will bring kind of success to women interpreters?
So it's important for us to not only discuss the barriers, but work diligently together to remove these barriers, because we have to stop looking back. We have to stop retracing history and build a new foundation and platform for your generation and the generations after you to stand upon. I tell people, when the business world started way back in the day, it was written by 7 people that kind of wrote this constitution and this platform of how business was built. And what we have to understand is, when it was originally created, women were designed to be at home. Nothing in this business origin was welcoming to us being in the workforce. We didn't come into the workforce until the World War, because it was necessary for us to come out of the homes, because all the husbands were overseas fighting, and we had to go into the factories to help make the planes and the bullets and all the things to help support. Well, even with that initiative of us going into the workforce, it was actually written that that was a temporary thing. We were not designed. So now in this day and time, with this global economic economy, some of the barriers that are out there, Kylie, is just micro biases that no one wants to address.
Mm-hmm.
And so until we begin to have these healthy dialogues, until we take all of our differences and our micro biases and our opinions, and we get in a place that we can have a healthy dialogue about it, we'll continue to repeat the mistakes of history. So my importance of removing these barriers is to propel us forward. I read a report. Annually, I get a global report that said that it's going to take 136 years before there's any sort of equality between men and women within the workforce.
Really?
I don't think yes, 136
Oh my
years.
gosh.
At the pace that we're at, the study began in 2006. And now, since 2006 up to 2023, we have only moved 0.4% of closing the gap. At that pace, it'll be another 136 years before we reach any sort of level of equality. And I don't think in this world of technology and global education that should be true.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that it's conversations like this. I believe that it is cross-pollinating information and resources that will help us close that gap a lot faster. But we got to be willing to listen and hear each other's issues, concerns, misconceptions that we have about each other with age or race or gender or sexuality. We have to be able to have these conversations so that we can now look at each other in a different light, and then remove some of these barriers for all of us to grow.
Yeah, basically when we have the conversations, if it will help continue break down the barriers, what's to say business. Like you said, 136 years until men or women are basically all not equal, but together in business. But it's like it's crazy when you said 136 years. I'm like, are you kidding? Like that's absolutely insane. I never thought it would take that long.
Yeah,
But
with
like
technology, it shouldn't, but that's because a lot of people don't want to let go of the old guard, the old way of doing things. And it's time.
yeah, it's really time. It's like when we have these conversations, like it will help break down that barrier. Like I said a couple minutes ago, that in whether it's like business or women in TV representation in the media, like whatever it is, having these conversations is important, because if you don't use your voice in business or whatever you believe in, nothing's gonna happen without using your voice in that topic. Like so I know like a lot of people, they can be very scared of like what to say because they don't want to like get any hate for it, which I totally get. I've been there, done that. Like I understand where they're coming from, but it's like it's okay to get hate for it as long as you're using your voice. Like it's the world we live in. Like people can hate while they want me, say not maybe not agree with what you said, and that's okay because people have different opinions, and that's part of life, right?
That's okay. That's the key point right there. You just said a mouthful right there. We don't all have to be robots or like we're connected with one cycle of thought. That's not what makes this world the beautiful world that it is. It is our eclectic way of looking at things and experiences to create a melting pot of success. But we gotta not be afraid of someone else having a different opinion of ours.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. We are one of the only beings on this earth that has the blessed gift of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we try to browbeat people into you have to only do it one way, or you have to be on my side, then you are removing the very essence that we have been blessed with of just being a human being.
Mm-hmm.
We
Yeah.
don't all have to agree, but we do have to understand where each other's coming from. without the balance, without the attack, without the put downs and the belittling, be able to have that conversation and learn how to disagree with each other in a healthy way.
Yeah, because even if you like say what you believe in, there might be people that might agree and you might be like good friends after all. Like
Absolutely.
always a good there's always pros and cons to it, but it's like that's one of the pros. People might say like, "Oh my God, you're saying what you believe in. I applaud you." You know, because not a lot of people say what they believe in. You know, because they might be scared. Like I was one of those girls. I was scared to do things. Trust me,
Right.
I was that girl like 3 years ago. But it's like it's it's a part of life. Everyone's scared to do something. Everyone's scared to say what they want. You know, so it's really just kind of getting that courage to say what you want and not being afraid.
Yes, absolutely.
And like what I was kind of curious, like what are the mastery level tools?
So as I talked about before, we call them mastery level tools because our goal is to make sure that everyone that enters into any of our training tracks not only can take the course, understand the course, but master it.
Mhm.
So we package them into mastery level trainings so that they complement each other. They don't overwhelm you. They are exactly what you need, and they're delivered in bite-sized segments to give you task, and then we back off to let you implement that and be able to come back after you've tried that and learn a different level of how to add on to that. Sometimes when you over um, inundate someone with too much information, you lose most of that information, right? But
Mhm.
we've created the ways that these tracks give you a chance to learn, implement, just kind of fester around that ecosystem and then come back and add and build upon so that you walk away with a mastery level of understanding of what your business goals are and how to enact and implement those goals into your business plan.
Ooh, that's such a good idea. I mean, before we head off, I wanted to ask you, like, do you think building connections as a founder and CEO has kind of helped you grow your platform and your organization?
Absolutely. So, funny story, people probably won't believe it. I actually internally, like my team will say, you getting on social media, getting on television, all these things is just something. I'm a back office, behind the scenes type of facilitator.
Yeah.
I had to learn when I got into this founder CEO role. And I think part of it was like what you were saying. I just didn't want to put myself out there to get any negative feedback and people to get, I didn't want that energy. But as a founder CEO, what I understood was I am the heartbeat of my brand,
Mm-hmm.
and my brand grows as I grow. If you follow me, I'm very transparent about what I'm doing. We right now, the Exceptional Woman Network has a challenge going on called She Means Business Challenge. And in the videos, I'm very transparent about my own setbacks, my own shortcomings and hesitations. And one of them was just putting myself out there on video and social media or whatever. And so for me, learning that lesson and embracing that lesson of being the founder CEO, the face of the company and the driver, my network is actually excelling from that growth of myself. Not me hiding behind the scenes, but me actually telling my passion point because it's my baby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like our like especially with building connections, like I wouldn't have this much connections right now if I wasn't doing what I'm doing right now, like doing a
Right,
face-to-face interview. Like I would have met you if it
right,
wasn't for reaching out to you on LinkedIn and having you part of my event a couple months ago. So it's really just the like connections. There's one thing about being in this industry is connections. That's
right.
one of the most important things, whether it's like PR, finding guests for a podcast. I don't know, like there's so many connections you can make in the industry. Like it's
Right.
crazy because whenever I'm trying to find people to talk to for my organization, or trying to find people for this podcast, or trying to find people for my local podcast, Northeast PA Story, which I feature local people, whenever I'm finding either one of those things, or just finding people to connect with and learn more about different types of things, Because I'm like, I don't know why I'm pretty much an open book on everything. So I'm just like, I always love to learn anything. But it's like connections is really the key to really just expanding your network and really just expanding really what you want to do in the future, whether it's like pursuing in business, sports, entertainment, journalism, like whatever it may be. There's so many things out there you can pursue, but whatever it is, there's so many connections you can make in that certain industry, which is amazing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that is literally the perfect way to end this episode. I love talking with you, Michelle, again. Your work is seriously, I know I say amazing a lot, and I know I said that before in previous episodes, but your work is literally amazing. And I'm seriously your biggest fan. Your work is seriously made an impact on me, and I can't wait to chat with you again soon. And for future projects that will be announced soon, trust me, it will. And
Guys, stay tuned. Stay tuned. Y'all about to see me and Kylie do some big things, so stay tuned.
stay tuned on my social media, guys, and make sure to follow Michelle on everything. And by the way, what is your social media if they want to connect with you?
So you can follow me on all my social media platforms at Your Business Surgeon, or you can follow my company at the Exceptional Woman Network, and that's across the board. You guys follow me, connect with me, ask questions, whatever you need to do. Join the Exceptional Woman Network. The website is up. And it is something I have coming up tomorrow. If you want to jump on our Facebook page, there's a link for our once a month, every Thursday, the final Thursday, we do a celebrating you session. And it's great. Everybody jump on. You tell us what you're celebrating with your business. It's a great way to build your ecosystem and learn people. So I want to see you guys. So see you soon.
Ooh, I'll definitely check out that Facebook page and make sure everyone do that too. I hope everyone learned so much from Michelle from this episode, and I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Make sure to subscribe, review, like whatever is on YouTube and Spotify. Those are the usual, but I hope everyone has a great rest of your day or weekend, whenever this episode comes out or whenever you're listening. But yeah, thank you so much, Michelle, for coming on. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. You guys have a great day.
You too. Talk to you soon. Bye.